Welcome, everybody. It's Mayor Joe, and guess what we're talking about today? You ready for some football on Friday nights? I hope so. Joining me, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I am Kelle Jackson Wilborn. I'm the current president over the Reynoldsburg Football Parent Association, going on my second year.
We've got a lot of fun things going on this year, don't we?
We definitely do.
All right, so we got a lot of ground to cover, so we're going to get right into it. First of all, are you excited for the season?
Absolutely. If you guys saw, I have a huge smile on my face. Just left the field with the guys practicing. Definitely ready. Definitely can't wait to see Raider Nation, you all out this year at the football field. Definitely excited.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be kind of back to, last year was great. It was great to be out there and see the team play and things like that, but I think this year it's going to be just a little bit different just because we can have the student section back in full force and all of those things, hopefully. So, Superintendent Brown, if you're watching, hopefully the student section will be out there.
Yes.
Now, this season's a little bit different, and a lot of do you know the big story about what the season's going to be this year? Have you guys talked about that at all?
So I do know we are celebrating 75 years of Reynoldsburg football. Super excited. A lot of planning and different things are going into place. October 15th, mark your calendars, that is our alumni night. The Board of Education will be handing out special decals that they made for this season. That's actually also a senior night. I do believe that they are working on trying to get some of the original players that played back in, I think 47 or 46. I think they got maybe 2 or 3 who'll be out there that night. So it'll definitely be, we're working on a commemorative program. So it's definitely a big year. Congratulations, Reynoldsburg football, for 75 years, for me being here. So definitely an exciting and big year this year for Reynoldsburg football.
And it's, a lot of expectations. I know when I first got on the school board, Reynoldsburg was in that process of starting to rebuild. And then we got that first playoff berth. And now all of a sudden it's kind of like, that's not just like we want to get to the playoffs. Now it's like we want to get there and we want to see how far we can go. So I love the expectations. I love the fact that we're aiming for something better than just to get in. I was really proud of the time that, we got to see us beat those 2 schools down 256. That we don't mention about that. But we have them this year. We have at least one of them this year, Pick Central. That's the last game of the season at that other place, so hopefully we'll get some people over there for that one. Now, as far as the booster organization, what exactly do you do? I mean, you don't have to give me every detail, but for everybody watching, when you're looking for help in this, what do you need help with? What do you do for our teams?
So I would say one of the biggest things we do is fundraise, and we fundraise for equipment. We fundraise to feed the boys. Just a lot of planning on the back end for the previous season. Or I should say the next season. We definitely feed the boys. I think I already said that.
All right. First of all, if you have teenage boys, that's bad enough. But you're going to have how many? 60, 70 guys?
No, I would say because we cover between 7th grade all the way through varsity. I would say it's around. I would say anywhere between 130, maybe 150 boys we
kind of feed
throughout
them.
the year. Yeah.
This is not just this is Costco size stuff. This is you need more than just your average food for this group, especially after a grueling football game and the practices and all of that. So you mentioned fundraising. I know we did the cash. There was a cash drop just the other week, and then so what are some of the other big things that you do to kind of get that money coming in?
So we did actually Double Good, which was the online popcorn sale that we recently did. We did quite well to the point to where August 16th through the 20th, we'll be doing that again. In September, we will doing a pampered chef to kind of help everyone get ready for Christmas and, just kind of bulk up your kitchen a little bit. We'll also have a fundraiser at Old Charlie's in October, where you guys will be able to go out and eat, and a percentage will come back to the football program. I definitely would say any more ideas, I definitely try to be outside the box and find new and innovative ways to raise money. One of the things I loved about this year was we were able to get more into the community. And I think getting the football program out into the community has been a big thing. So thank you to everybody that has contributed to the shoe drive, that helped out or took pictures and said thank you for the boys being out on our Main Street cleanup. And then another thing we'll be doing throughout the year is we'll have a mentorship program. We're partnering with Taylor Road Elementary School, and we'll have some juniors and seniors who will be kind of pouring in positive things, trying to help tutor them a little bit. So yeah, we do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. It's an important thing. I mean, it's you said you're covering 7th grade through 12th grade, and this is it's one of the bigger programs in Central Ohio, and we've obviously had a pretty good record the last couple of seasons as far as that. So anything that we can do to support it. Now I know I'm good with Raider gear because I've gotten that stuff together. But for everybody out there that's ready to come back to the stadium this year, we have a couple of things out here. If you want to kind of share what some of this Raider gear that's out there for everybody.
So this year we are working with 2 amazing businesses in Reynoldsburg, Starstruck and Ohio Select. So we have some sweatshirts that you can actually go to our website, reynoldsburgfootball.com, on our homepage, and I have a link on there that'll take you directly to the page on the Starstruck website where you can purchase. Here's 2 different sweatshirts we have. Sweatpants, t-shirts, things of that nature. And then Ohio Select is pretty awesome. These are some of the items we'll have. This looks like just a cushion, but actually it's a blanket. When you unzip it, it opens up into a blanket. So we'll be selling this in the Booster Barn. We have different variations of ball caps, skull caps. So these are some of the things that we'll have. Oh, sorry. And we even have a Reynoldsburg bag. So we're not only football, these are items that you can get to help support all Reynoldsburg sports or athletics. But yeah, so definitely go to reynoldsburgfootball.com on our homepage, and it'll say Spirit World 2021. You can click on the links and it'll take you directly to the pages or the website to make your purchases.
All right, so those first couple of games, usually you won't need a blanket, but I guarantee you, as we're making those deep runs into the playoffs, the blankets are going to be helpful out there. I don't know about you, but I'm a superstitious guy when it comes to athletics, because really what hat I decide to wear on a football Friday night is actually going to determine if the team wins or loses. I didn't know if you knew that.
I did.
So I've got these things. So I have my very own, I've got my purple hat and I've got the black hat and all of that, and it's one of those things where I really do feel that makes a difference. So it's that superstition thing. It's just me. It's an old sports thing. So I know a lot of people out there are very much the same thing. So
hey, as long as it's helping us win those games, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. So those are all good. Now, if somebody wants to, aside from buying this, if there are any other ways that people can get involved? I mean, do you help with volunteers? Do they have to have kids in the program, that type of thing, or pretty much you'll take any help whatsoever?
So honestly, we will take any and all help with the football program. Anytime we're planning things, I try to post on as many community pages on Facebook and have it on our website. Definitely come out. Again, I'm very open-minded, so if you have any innovative or different fundraising ideas, even if you may have a connection with a business that may be able to help us out in any capacity, because I've known in the past where people have had access to like gently used equipment, and so those types of things are things that we can use. We do have some players who may not have cleats, so we try to keep spare cleats, just in case there's a need. Or like my son a couple of years ago, he busted his cleat in the game. Luckily they had an extra pair. He was able to get back on the field. So you can help out in just all types of facets. It's not always monetary that we need to help. We definitely need the help from the community and from the people, just to continue to pour into these young men who are out there fighting for Reynoldsburg. And
make sure you show up on those Friday nights to cheer. Now, let's be honest. This is going to also be a special season for you because you've got a senior.
I do.
Go ahead and embarrass him. He's not watching it. You're fine. You can say what you want.
Excuse me. It is definitely bittersweet to have a senior to be on this side. A part of me wishes I could experience it from like the regular parent side. I'm doing banners. I just approved their banners for all the seniors, and definitely got choked up seeing my son and all the class of 22. So it's definitely an exciting and emotional year for me. So if you guys see me off in the booster bar, with a couple of tears, just kind of pat me on the back and tell me to yell, and I'll be good to go.
We've all been there. So, any questions so far? Anything?
Not this time.
All right. Well, which is a good thing because I know hopefully they're already online trying to pick up their next batch of Raider gear. And
Absolutely,
all of that.
Please.
Well, I'd love for you if you can stay for a little bit longer as we kind of go through some other items of everything. Obviously, busy. We're neck deep, as I said on council on Monday, with our Tomato Festival planning. So we've got a lot of things going on. But want to bring a couple things out there to everybody. First of all, we're going to have a public hearing for the Wagner Road improvements. That's going to be Wednesday, August 11th at 7 p.m. It's going to be right here at City Hall, and we're going to talk about what that looks like. So we're going to talk about the multi-purpose paths. We're going to talk about sidewalks. We're going to talk about the stoplight at Priestley and Wagner. We're going to talk about a dedicated right turn lane. So when you're on Wagner and you're turning onto Main Street, we can work on those types of things as we get ready to apply for a grant from the Ohio Public Works. So we've got that on August 11th. We also have a Roundabout town hall meeting. There's always a lot of conversation about roundabouts here in Reynoldsburg, and so we want to make sure the community is involved in it. One of the topics is a roundabout at the 5-way intersection, which would be a huge thing all the way around. So we want to make sure we get some public commentary on that. People like it, don't like it, all those types of things. Some other things coming up in the next little bit. We've got our city events. As always, our farmers market is tomorrow, and we have a new vendor that's going to be coming in for some produce. I saw sweet corn is going to be available tomorrow, so we're getting at that time of the year where nothing but some good sweet corn. It's from 4 to 7 here at JFK Park at City Hall. We also have our last Music in the Cul-de-sac at Ashland Place. It'll be the Nepali Cultural Dance Club, so go ahead and check them out as well. This Saturday, didn't know if you knew this, we're going to be doing a school supply drop-off sponsored by the Lions Club. It's going to be right here at City Hall. So this is the time where you drop off the supplies. So anytime between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m., come to City Hall. We're taking all the school supplies that are out there that you normally would have: books, notebooks, pencils, pens, all that type of thing, paper. And then we're going to turn around, get it all organized, and on the 21st of August from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., we're going to go ahead and do a drive-by pickup. So kind of like what we did last year. The COVID restrictions kind of put a really good thing to get us with the drive-through. So basically you'll pull around and then you'll get your supplies and move on to the next level. There were lunch boxes and all sorts of things out there. So again, if you're interested in donating, that would be this Saturday. And if you need those school supplies, make sure you come out on the 21st. Special thanks again to April Darling and the Lions Club for helping to organize and push this one through. We do have our Tomato Festival. Like I said, we are all about the Tomato Festival from here on out, so we've got a lot of volunteer options out there for everybody. We've just putting the finishing touches on our internal schedule, so everybody who's working the Tomato Festival needs to know where they are, but we're also going to have some volunteers. And I know some of the football players are going to hopefully come out on that Sunday after a long day at the day before to come out and help put some things away, so we've got that going on. But we do have some highlights. Last week I talked a little bit about Thursday, so we're going to talk about some Friday highlights. First of all, we're going to have our musical acts is going to start off with Blue Spectrum, which is actually an autistic-based band that's going to come out and perform with us. They're awesome. There's some good rock and roll. Followed by Stadium 11. I think they're QFM 96's band this year, house band. And then our main acts, again, are going to be Kicks and Autograph, which you may not recognize the names right off the way, but you'll know the music when they're there. It's going to be a big group. And I think, is that the night football team's going to be there, or are you going to be there Saturday night for at the beer garden?
Well, actually,
the parents, not the kids. They're not allowed.
Right. The parents will be there on the 13th.
On the 13th, so that would be the Friday. Yeah, the Friday sometime. So we've got that going on. We also have the Tomato Wars, the return of the Tomato Wars. We had a really successful time in 19 with that. It's sponsored by Simple Church, and you're going to basically give a donation that will ultimately go to Heart Food Pantry, and you'll get your goggles, you get your t-shirt, and then you get to throw tomatoes at people. So, that's always a good thing. So get your teams lined up for that one. We also have Sensory Time, again, moving in with to kind of cater to those that want to have that kind of Tomato Festival experience without all the noise and without the lights and flashing. So we'll have that. We've got Step Up Projects is going to be doing performing with activities. Step Up Project Shopworks. There's going to be a strolling magician out there, and we're going to have RPD is going to bring out one of their sensory dogs. It's going to support dog that'll be out there as well. So those are between the hours of 2 and 4. The musical act will be around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So looking forward to that. We also want to remind everybody you have the opportunity to sign up and be a part of our first public police academy, Citizen Police Academy. If you remember, our Civilian Review Board went through this as part of their training to understand the responsibilities of the Civilian Review Board and the police department. So it's open to all Reynoldsburg residents, but you're going to learn about detective work, working with canines. You're going to get the little radar gun and go see where everybody's speeding in the city of Reynoldsburg, which apparently is everywhere. So keep that in mind. Siobhan Ross, who is actually an administrator with Reynoldsburg City Schools, is part of our board. And she actually gave a really nice quote. She says, "I participated in the first Citizens Police Academy. For me, the experience was life-changing, and I believe every resident of Reynoldsburg should participate. So if she said that, then everybody should. So go out and check out the Reynoldsburg City webpage, and then go to the police section, and you can get that information in there. And don't worry if this one is booked up. We're going to continue to do a couple a year. This time, I know Councilwoman Meredith Lawson Rowe is going to be part of the one in September, and I'm looking to join in sometime in the January class. We had a big meeting today. Kmart's coming down. We're ready for this. So we actually had a big meeting talking with everybody to make sure we get all the documents taken care of and all of that stuff, but it's scheduled to come down on August 28th at 11 a.m. And it's going to be a celebration. This is a big community event. This is a huge thing for our Bryce Road area. So what we're going to make sure, we'll have some food trucks out there. We're going to work about seeing if we can throw some tomatoes at the wall, things like that. And then we're going to have some sort of a display where you'll actually see, some of that first wrecking come in. So we'll get some more details about that, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, it's going to be a new start for the city of Reynoldsburg in that area. Any comments, any questions so far from anybody?
No.
All right, I do have my last 3 questions that were submitted all those weeks ago about development, so I'm going to quickly go through them. Is all growth good, and why can't the city stay this way or the way it was? And really, the reality is if your city isn't growing, it's dying. And we don't want the city to do that. We want to continue to find ways to grow. Now, sometimes that's, new areas like what we're having out at the Eastwood development across from the Department of Agriculture. That's kind of new development that's coming in. But the rest of it is exactly what the Kmart is. It's redevelopment of areas that are kind of old and blighted that we need to get rid of. So we're going to work with them. So we are the 3rd largest suburb in the city of, in the Central Ohio area. And while the city's budget doesn't tell the entire story, it is significantly smaller than other cities compared to our size. So a lot of it has to do with a combination of things. It comes with jobs and businesses that are coming in here. We actually had another grand opening this week that will be out on social media soon. So it's our 51st business that we've opened since January of 2020. So we want to continue on that because that obviously helps, with the funds so we can take care of our parks and our streets and all of that stuff. But also, the residential aspect of it. We've actually talked with 2 businesses that are actually attracted to the city of Reynoldsburg because of some of the new housing development that's coming in, because they want to make sure that they have people to sell what they're doing, or more importantly, have people to work in Reynoldsburg that live in Reynoldsburg. So there's a lot of that as well. How does the increased enforcement of the property maintenance code benefit the city? So this is code enforcement. One, it just makes it look prettier. Let's start with that. If you might have seen around in different areas where, some of the less than well taken care of parking lots and things like that, maybe it kind of been rough, you get a little bumpy as you're driving on them, that type of thing. So I made sure to work with them to scrape those things away. Sometimes it's a fresh coat of paint, sometimes it's working on their sign, but anything that we can do to make the city look a little bit more pleasing, a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So when you're driving in, you look at it and say, okay, this is a new and vibrant area. Code enforcement is not always the easiest thing in the world, and kudos to all of our code enforcers for going out, because nobody wants to basically be told that they have to take care of this or that in their properties. But the reality is it's for the betterment of all businesses and our residents as well as our apartment complexes and things which have been neglected for far too long. Then the last question, until the next time we get questions, is what is the purpose of regularly updating the zoning code? How does the code affect what development we see in the city? And does the city make code changes to suit specific developers? All right, so I'll start with the first one. Why did we redo the zoning code, regularly updating it? The zoning code is kind of like a living, breathing document. It's never going to be absolutely perfect, but every now and then we're going to go through and make a couple of changes. Council this last week, a couple of changes included different things when it comes to signage on the city. So when you're driving down, what kind of signs can businesses have? Other parts of it is whether or not it's residential or commercial. So there's an area on Main Street by Oak Valley that half of a lot was residential and half of a lot was commercial. But if you were to look at it, you would think that this is the only thing that should go there would be houses. So we actually had that change to make sure that houses can go there. So you don't need to have a commercial business right in the middle of a neighborhood. That just doesn't seem to go well with each other. So it's those types of changes that we put in place. So those are a couple of the big things. And how does the code affect the development? It's a lot easier for businesses if they want to look at our zoning map and they say they want to build, let's say, a restaurant. They can look at it and they can see, based on the color-coded map that's there, the way the zoning is, that they can build a restaurant in this location but not that location. So it takes the guesswork out. You don't have to go through a variance to build a restaurant on Main Street. You can build restaurants on Main Street. That's an acceptable use and encouraged in a lot of ways. So before, you had to have it in a certain area. Maybe you could build a restaurant on this block, but 2 blocks down it wasn't zoned for that, so you had to get a variance, which means you have to go to another meeting. And that's one of those things where time is money. And the more you can help streamline that process, so it makes it easier for the developers to understand the process, not necessarily them making the business here, but at least the process becomes a lot easier. And the last part of it, does the city code make changes to suit specific developers? Not entirely. Most of it is just designed to make it easier to make businesses that would be in a certain area, well, duh, that's what it should be. So obviously Bryce Road and Main Street would be areas where you're going to see businesses. We made changes to the medical marijuana uses out there. So, does a dispensary, is that different from where you're actually producing medical marijuana? So those are 2 different things. Do you want a medical marijuana being produced on Main Street or at 256 shopping? No. Does a dispensary go there that's kind of like a pharmacy? That's might be a different story all the way around. So you have to make sure that those things are kind of looked at. Development is always a big thing here, and hopefully as we move forward, we'll see some really cool things at the Happy Dragon site and the PNC site and all sorts of other stuff that we're working on, trying to cross that finish line to get some really cool things into the city. But if you ever have questions, obviously I'm happy to meet with anybody. You can ask questions on social media, and odds are I'm going to get tagged in them, and I'll answer them about all those types of things. But again, it's just to make sure that we're trying to move the city to a place that we all want it to get to eventually. So we do have a question.
It says, when will the sign for Huber Park on Livingston be replaced?
The sign on Huber Park on Livingston. That's a really good question. I have no idea. That has not been one of those topics that we're talking about, but we'll add that to our list. I do know that we've talked about monument sign when people come into or out of Reynoldsburg. I know that has been a concern, that not everybody knows exactly when you come in. So depending on the area in which it is, obviously Bryce and Main Street is one of the main entryways into it, so we're looking at doing some things like that when it comes to the new project at the Alliance. We're looking at doing something at the other end of Main Street out by the Department of Agriculture, so that way there's some monuments there. And so I think obviously that would be a great time to start looking at Huber Park so people know on that Livingston side what's there. I know Spangler's got the sign out there, but want to make sure everybody knows what's going on. So that's a really good question. I like that. Anything else?
That's it for right now.
All right. Again, let's go Raiders. I mean, are we ready to get it on? This is going to be a good thing.
Absolutely.
Really looking forward to it. We have our next fireside chat next week with Reynoldsburg City School Board member Jenny Quesenberry, who will be joining us, but it's at a special time. The 12 o'clock show is actually going to be at 1 o'clock. I've got one of those development meetings that I can't miss early on, so I got to get to that one. It's a big one. So hopefully we'll have some good news with that. And thanks to Jenny Quesenberry for joining us next week at 1 o'clock. And thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much for coming today. Love seeing the guys out there cleaning the fields, cleaning Civic Park and Main Street and all of that. Love to see all the engagement with the football team. It's going to be a great season. So,
Absolutely.
Anybody else? Any last second questions?
Nope.
All right. Take care, everybody. And as we remember, put your shopping carts away. It's a real easy thing. We'll see you next week.